Serialism is an avant garde modern composition technique that was invented in the 1920s by a composer called Schoenberg. In a serial, or sometimes we call it 12-tone composition, the composer begins by taking each one of the 12 different semitones between two notes 1 octave apart, and then decides on an order to play those notes in. This row of notes is called a tone row. Each note can only occur one time. The composer then creates a rhythm to fit the notes to, and always keeps this pre-decided order of notes the same. Once all 12 notes have been used up, the row is then reused to create more music. It could be used in the same order, or it could be adapted in some way, for example, being played backwards. Playing the tone row backwards is known as a retrograde row, sometimes written as R for short. The letter P stands for prime, which means the first or original row. Sometimes the letter O for original is used. A tone row can also be transposed to another key to create a new set of pitches which have the same interval relationship. Serial music is atonal, which means that there is no obvious tonic or keynote. Each of the 12 semitones is of equal importance. There are no rules about harmonic progressions, voice leading conventions, or forbidden melodic intervals. However, the notes do need to be selected carefully so that the music sounds properly atonal, rather than, let's say, wrongly tonal. Take a look at the following tone rows. Notice how the first one sounds as though it's in a diatonic key for 3 or 4 notes, and then seems to shift to another tonal centre. It sounds like it's in some major or minor keys, but it's moving around quickly. Now listen to the second one. This never seems to rest in any particular key, even for a tiny moment. To build a tone row from scratch, start by writing out the 12 available semitones either in letters or notes, then cross off each one from your list as you add it to your tone row. You can start on any note you like. Choose your second note, then calculate the melodic interval it forms with the previous note. If you used an accidental, think about the interval from the enharmonic spelling as well. Remember, you generally need to avoid outlining major or minor triads. Aim for outlined augmented triads. Avoid perfect fourths and perfect fifths, and try to include tritones. With each note that you add into the row, you need to repeat the same process. By using tritones and augmented triads and avoiding perfect intervals, you will automatically avoid being centred for too long within any particular tonal key. You can use each note in any octave. The tone row is just a collection of what's called a pitch class, rather than specific pitches. Using bigger intervals often gives you better possibilities for dissonance, because although a major or minor second is a smooth step, a major or minor ninth, if you add in the octave, is a dissonant leap. So the tone row, which looks like this, could be written out with actually using these pitches, which are spread out over a wider range. The composition is then written by using the prime row in its entirety. You will, of course, need to decide on a rhythm. The order of the notes has to be strictly maintained, but you're allowed to use 2 or more of the same note in succession, and you can also combine 2 notes into a trill or a tremolo. When you've used up all the notes in the tone row, the prime row can then be played backwards as a retrograde row. This retrograde row can be used then to make a new section of music. The composition can end on any note you like. It doesn't have to be the first or the last note from the row. Let's think about the form and structure of a serial composition. 12-tone music works well with an AB or ABA compositional form quite easily. You can also think about creating a good musical shape for your piece by building it up to a single point of a climax, the most exciting point in the tune. You can make a climax by increasing any of the elements in music, so rising pitch, making the rhythm more complex, making the dynamics louder, making the attack harder, making the tempo faster, or any combination of these different things. Because serial music doesn't produce easily remembered melodies, you could consider making rhythm the most important unifying element in your piece. We can latch onto rhythms and remember them even if the notes in them sound a little bit random. Here's an example composition written for flute.